Sai Ram, everyone. A warm welcome to each one of you, and thank you for joining the session today. It's my honor to introduce our esteemed speaker, Dr. Sunder Iyer. Dr. Iyer is a distinguished alumnus of Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, where he was part of the very first batch of students at the Puttaparthi campus in 1979. He completed his undergraduate, master's, and doctoral degrees in banking and finance, and later serving on the faculty until 1994. Throughout his students' years, he was blessed with numerous personal interactions with Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba, even serving as one of his personal assistants for a period of time. In a deeply special moment, Swami personally officiated his marriage to his wife, Maya, in 1992 at Prashanti Nilayam. Sundar's commitment to yoga was recognized by Swami with a gold medal during 1984 convocation. His training was shaped at the feet of Swami and by visiting masters at the ashram. Sundar's commitment to disseminating Sai's teachings through yoga and meditation has led him to host workshops globally. After Swami's Mahasamadhi, he devoted himself fully to the teaching of traditional yoga rooted in Sanatana Dharma. He has also been honored as an ecumenical minister by the Unity of All Religions in Ojai, California. Together with his wife, Maya, Sundar founded the Kaivalya Yoga Gurukulam, offering free online programs in yoga, Vedanta, and human advancement through their KYG Yoga YouTube channel, with the mission of spreading the ancient teachings of yoga and Vedanta to all. This morning, we had the fortune of listening to him. He conducted a yoga workshop. It was really refreshing for everyone. Thank you. And he also talked to the OAS, and there was a lot of positive comments about that session too. Thank you, Sundar. The topic now will be his experiences with Swami. That's what he's going to share. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Dr. Sunder Iyer.
Sai Ram, my most loving and prayerful salutations at Swami's lotus feet. Could you bring it down a little? Yeah, thanks. Okay, okay, this is good, this is good. I like looking at my face, but my voice scares me. For the last 65 days, I've been hearing a lot of my own voice. Thank you all for coming, taking time, and thank you especially for giving me yet another chance to stand in your enlightened presence, in the presence of Swami. It has always been my greatest desire to speak about him, to share my journey with him, with every one of his devotees, because there was so much that I got from him, that my heart is so full. It's nothing less of a miracle, because the more I share, it seems like I receive even more. So the part of me is selfish in sharing this, because I truly receive more from Swami as I continue to share. And it keeps me very humble to think what a beautiful master that we all bask in, his love, his grace, and his mercy. There are many, many, many experiences that I went through, and most of which I have already shared again and again. So if some of you have heard me before, please bear with me. This will be more of a repetition. But there's one particular lesson that I feel inspired to share today. After having spoken to the YAs, my mind is still in that zone, the YA zone. They're a wonderful group, by the way. I really enjoyed time with them. They were respectful enough not to get up and walk away when I was talking for 2 hours. So I presume I must have done something good to hold their attention. But it was a pleasure talking to them, and I know some of them are here. We all want to do something with our lives. We are searching for a purpose, searching for a mission, searching for a vision, if you will. Being young and being Sai devotees, we want to be his instruments. And so I want to share this journey of how I learned this lesson that was spread almost over 10 years, how Swami guided me, and I could only understand the enormity of his message many years later. It all began in Swami's room. One day I was sorting out the mail after Swami had finished his, every day he had so much of letters to read. He couldn't possibly and physically finish all of them. So he would do what he can, and in order to make room for the next day's mail, we would actually clear this one. In other words, our job was to open each one, if they were envelopes, to see if there was any check or anything to do with cash, so that we could pass it on to the office, the Satya Sai Central Trust. In doing so, I would come across very beautiful cards that were sent to Swami. And many of them had amazing quotes in it, poems and quotes in it. And so I was holding one of them, a big card in my hand, and it had this prayer of Saint Francis of Assisi. And it was, for the first time I came across that. And it read, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, let me sow faith. So I read that poem, and I'll probably finish it in the course of this, explaining this episode. I read that poem, and it touched me very, very much. The reason being is, I was very new to Swami when I came to him. I was not part of Sai devotees family. And one thing led to the other, and I was in Swami's room. And observing Swami in his human form, how he lived every day, was what touched me the most. And that's what I shared with the young adults today as well. To me, Swami is more divine when I see him as a human being than from hearing stories of his miracles and his leelas and so on. And in his being a human being, he proved to me what one can do with one's life. I could relate to Swami. I could relate to him. I could say he's inspired my life. To me, Swami is not one more God up in the altar along with the 33 crores gods of that we already have. Muppati Mukkod Devargal, we say, right? He didn't come to become one more God that you and I worship. What is the next bhajan we sing? What is the next composition and so on? He came to inspire us, show us how one can live if only one believes, one sees what is truly within oneself. He showed us what a young boy from a village which is not even on a map of India can do. Just like Krishna showed, if I'm born in a prison in the dead of the night, what I can do. Just as Jesus showed, you put me, I was born in a manger, my birth was not even recorded, look what I did. And it is the same repetition of these great enlightened beings that walk the earth to show us that it is not about money, it is not about education, it is not about popularity, it is none of these that make you truly help you sanctify your life. They come, by the way, but what is most important, what he makes you achieve is, what do you see inside yourself? And therefore I saw that with Swami. I saw an inspired being working day in and day out from morning till night. He would never stop. There was no break for Swami from his being the avatar or being the guru. There was no moments where you can say enough of bhajans and prayers. I just want to chill. I want to relax. Let me go with my friends into my own private space and watch some TV. There was no such thing that you and I would probably think, oh, enough, Sunder Iyer was here 4 days, I've been running around with him, now let's chill. To me, that mattered most, because for me, how could somebody live like that 24/7? So authentic to what he spoke, that integrity of Swami, that authenticity of Swami, left me speechless, left me very inspired. And so I wanted to be part of whatever he was doing. For me, curiosity gave way to admiration in a matter of 5 or 6 months that I saw him. At the end of my stay there, and after I was, of course, more than 2 years, he kept calling me again and again for any little work. And I ended up staying 15 years after that as well in the campus. But during those formative months, I was so inspired by what he did that I wanted to be part of it. I wanted to be part of anything that he did. Whatever it is, I said, Swami, make me that. And therefore, this instrument, prayer, just clicked with me. And as I was reading it, I heard this sound, unmistakable Swami's voice. He had come behind me. Hey, he said, I'm not supposed to be reading his mail. We really didn't. None of us ever did. Because it wasn't our business to read it. We were only checking. But this card was so beautiful. I just paused for a second and I was watching it. Hey, he said, I said, Swami, sorry, Swami. He did like this and went away. And we cleared all this. And of course, a couple of weeks later, very sweetly, he came with a big bag, like you have like a shopping bag that you have. And he threw it at me and he said in Telugu, so you seem to have liked these things, keep it. And it was a collection of all cards. So he had of course, a tone of them, personal messages there, but the cover card, and he had given me a whole bunch of them. And I was so touched that Swami remembered, and while he chided me a little bit, making me more conscious that I shouldn't be doing it, he also very graciously gave me a whole bunch, which 10 years later, I cut all those cards with my pictures with Swami. I made it a beautiful album and gave it on my birthday. And he put a beautiful, long, big signature on it and blessed it, which is one of my treasures. I keep it because he kept it on his lap and went page by page, reading the card and watching the pictures. But anyway, so in that card was this prayer as well. Make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me so love. I loved it and I memorized it and I started saying it day in and day out because that seemed to be a prayer I could relate to. And a time came that I had a chance to speak in front of Swami and I spoke about this prayer at the end of my talk. And Swami liked it very much. And he blessed me after my talk. So I thought, since I've already said it in Swami's divine presence, I used to self-initiate myself like this many times. And so I said, I'm going to take this as Swami's initiated me into this prayer. And I started saying it. Time passed, and I got another chance to speak in front of Swami. And I said, why not end my talk with this prayer again? Because I was saying it every day in and out. It was not a ritual for me. It was truly a heartfelt yearning to be part of him. Because every day that I spent, every week that passed, every month that passed, only got me more and more inspired. What I do today is only because of that inspiration and because of watching this master work so hard towards his mission. I really want you all to believe this, my dear sisters and brothers. It was not with the wave of his hand or all of this. These are leelas of his which we can never fathom or even understand what he did, where he did, on what levels he was communicating. But at a physical level, I actually saw him work really, really hard at his mission. And so that is what inspired so many of us who were there. It wasn't his discourses that transformed us. That of course did play a part, but that was not the main one. What really transformed many of us was watching him and being with him and observing how he spent his days, every day, his intensity, his dedication, the discipline that he had in his own life. was something he lived more. His actions were louder than his words, like anybody's actions are, but his actions were so divine that they spoke so much more about him than even his words did. And it was his actions, the way he lived, that really touched our lives. So I had this chance one more time. I ended this talk, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. That talk too went well. However, the next day Swami came up to me and he said, he asked some VIP there, how did this boy speak? They said, Swami spoke very well. Then I'm sitting here, they're standing there. He's like, yeah, he spoke well. But what is that prayer you said? Of course, he spoke to me in Telugu then, but I'm just paraphrasing it in English. అది ఏం చెప్పావు అది ఒక ప్రే ఏమో చెప్పావు ఎండ్లో అది ఏంటి ఇది I said, oh my God, he's asking me to pray again. I knelt on my knees and I said, Swami, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is, I started telling the whole time, ade, make me. And ademti make me. What does that make me? Make me tea, make me coffee, make me instrument. Who are you to say make me? You're giving an order? Make me tea, make me coffee, make me an instrument. Atla undakuddu. Not like that. And so at that moment, you can't tell Swami, Swami, but this is the prayer. This has been printed. I cannot tell him that. Professor Anil Kumar might have. He had that amazing quality to respond, engage Swami in conversations like that. But I was far too young and there was no way. I just looked at him completely confused. And then Swami is leading me to a search inside, right? Very beautifully he said, Atla kadu, make me chepodu, may I chepu, may I. Then he looked at the VIP. It's very innocently he'll do, like asking others, what do you think of may I? And they were like, of course, Swami. And I loved it too. I said, yes, Swami, may I? And the moment I heard it from Swami's voice, it was so sweet. May I be an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, may I sow love. And so on. Where there is injury, pardon. Because I felt from make me to may I, the way I understood that, the way I started praying may I is, when you say make me, give me, we sit back, perhaps, waiting for him to make me an instrument. It was almost as if we don't have a role in it. He somehow has to choose us. In the meantime, I'll catch up with my CNN, Desperate Housewives, Bold and Beautiful. I don't know what. I'm just throwing these names. But I'll be watching all this, so you make me. When you're in a good mood, you can make me. So it's almost like the ball is in his court, is not mine. Maybe that was in my subconscious, because words matter, right, when we pray. And that's why Swami would say, be careful what you pray. When you say, I want, wanting becomes a reality. So he says, remove the want, remove the I, then what you want is given to you. Anyway, so when I went back to this, I thought, may I gives me a chance to be a co-creator with the divine. I seek permission, but I'm already in it, You're not, there is humility that shows that from your side you're ready. And you already taken a couple of steps. You're just asking his permission, almost just for the sake of asking his permission, but you're ready to act in it. And he's almost welcoming you in. It gave me that bhava, that attitude. And so I continued that prayer as I fulfilled my duties as a student and continued staying there. That was my prayer for a long time. Another 5 years had passed. And it was in Kodaikanal, 10 or 11 years after staying with him. Every day I had to talk for over 65 days. Every day I had to talk in front of Swami. I was running out of material. And it struck me it's time for me to play my ace card again. My ace card was that prayer which he taught me, which he guided me. And so one evening, I gave a very heartfelt talk with Swami, and just next to me like so. And ended this with a talk. May I be an instrument. I looked at him and I said, may I be an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, may I sow love. Where there is injury, may I so pardon. I asked may I many times, just to just to just to feel the joy of praying right in his physical presence, but also to impress upon him that I got it. I'm doing it exactly the way you did. Both ways it worked for me. It was very joyful there. And then I went and touched his feet. He patted me on my back very lovingly. And then when I got up, this is what Swami said. And allow me to say it exactly the way he did it. He said in Telugu, Inka yenta sepura beggar laga may I enter. How much more longer, like a beggar, are you going to beg may I? That may, because I repeated may I so many times. Maybe he found that very, what is this annoying thing, may I? You know, it does sound like that, right? With a nasal thing. Anyway, I don't know what it was. But Swami, of course, it was time for Swami to say something very, very profound. He said, ఎప్పుడు I am అని ఎప్పుడు చెప్తావు ఇంకా ఎంతసేపు బెగర్ లాగా మీ ఐ చెప్తున్నావు. And I was looking at him and he said, I am అని ఎప్పుడు చెప్తావు? When are you going to say, I am an instrument of thy peace? I am చెప్పు. And that was power in his voice. And so from that day, it's I am an instrument. We are. We don't have to wait. The moment we make up our mind, he is there. We just have to say, I am. Because the moment we say, make me, wait, Swami, give me liberation, give me grace, we are putting it out in a distance. Let's receive it. Let's be the one. Let's start being the one that we want to be. It may not appear so, but we wait to become something, then waiting becomes reality. Becoming is constantly changing, but being gives a sense of fulfillment right from day one. And that is what I saw with Swami. And that day onwards, I began to understand his mission on a much different level. Swami would, when he started that small school in Puttaparthi, he was already celebrating the vision of having established free education. He was not waiting for big colleges to come up. Waiting was never his game. Fulfillment was his. Being was his nature. To be God, to be, everything was at that moment done, and it flowered on its own. You plant the seed, and the seed and the banyan tree or whatever plant that you're planting, the apple tree is already done. Now it's going to start its own process of growing. We don't have to sit and dream and vision it. All we have to do is water and nurture it, and it's taking its own shape. Nature does that for us, but we just have to enjoy the growth of it, not waiting for it. We have to just take care of it because we know the apple tree is making, and every step of it, every time the roots go into the ground, the tree is forming itself. And that was Swami. I never saw him playing the waiting game. I never saw him play the asking game. He never asked his devotees anything. He never waited for something. He would celebrate every moment of his mission. And that was his power. And it was in stories like these that he really taught us that it is time that we get into the game. He's not come to make you or anything. He's giving you a chance. And Swami would say once to us as we were sitting as students, he said, I give you a chance. Andarku avakasam istunanu. I'm giving everyone a chance. I never ask anyone. Everyone adugunu kani andarku avakasam istanu. I give opportunity for everybody to be a part of this. I'm not going to ask anyone. This is just an opportunity. So it's an opportunity for us. And we have to seize it in some form. We are already doing an amazing job with the Sai Center. The 100th birthday is over. Is that just an event on the calendar? Or is that going to be a moment of a very powerful transformation for us? Remember, 100th birthday that we celebrated is just the beginning of the 100th year, right? So it's the beginning of a new phase. We have still 365 days to really concretize our journey forward in the next phase of our lives. It has to be before Swami's 100th birthday and after 100th birthday. What is it that we do as a group? What is it that I do as an individual? why is this, or can this be an important landmark in my life? We have had our own important landmark. We remember the day our child was born, or children were born. We remember the day we got married. We remember our birthdays, of course. We remember important days in our life. And I think November 23rd, 2025, and this year, the 100th year of Swami, has to be the most important year in our lives. It has to be. Because we perhaps will be the only generation that can say we were there during the 100th year of an avatar. There are others who will come and celebrate 150th and 200th and so on. There's, of course, no end to that. But there's some magic about the first 100, correct? Those of you who play cricket know the magic of 100. When we had examinations, there's 100. There's percentages always in terms of 100% versus 80% versus 70%. There's something about 100 in our unconscious and subconscious mind. And so 100 is so important, and we have this great opportunity. It's not a one-day thing that went by. It is a whole year still available for us, because this is the 100th year. At the end, we'll celebrate the anniversary where this year ends and 101st begins. To me, I truly believe that Swami came to show us how to live. He celebrated who he was. He did not look into the mirror and say, I wish I was a little taller. With his hair, he still reached my height. So he was short, but that didn't seem to bother him. See how powerful lessons are hidden in these messages of, unspoken messages of Swami. Krishna was very beautiful, perhaps tall. We only see images, right? And he became emperor and so on and so forth. But here is Swami, just a village boy. Swami would say, I didn't have money to put buttons on my shirt. I used to take thorns and keep them together when I used to go to school. That was that boy who had a dream. And look what he did with his dream. So if we have a dream to take Swami into the society, not as missionaries, we are no one to talk about him. Right? We don't know anything about him, that we are spreading him, but we are going to talk about how he blessed our lives. How do we take his message to the world? We were sitting around Swami once, and Swami was forcing us to go home, all of us. And he gave each of us 200 rupees and said, every one of you go home. And he asked all of us what we will do. Each one of us said, I'll sing bhajans, or I'll give talks and this and that. And Swami paused and he said, I'll tell you a story. And he said, people from one village comes to another village to listen to a burra katha. It's middle of the night. They forget their way back home. In the dark, they're searching for their village, and they hear dogs barking. And they say, oh, that side is a village because I hear their dogs barking. And somebody says, wait a minute, they're howling. How do you know they are dogs? They're not foxes. So Swami said there was more confusion. Then they see a lamp burning at a distance, a street lamp. They say, let us go there. And they walk towards the street lamp. They see the fork in the road. They realize that this is the way to go home, and they went home. Swami tells this beautiful story, then looks down at us and asks, did the lamp give speeches? Did the lamp sing bhajans? What did the lamp do? We knew the answer, but we kept quiet. He said the lamp just did its job of shedding light. And in that light, people saw their way. And beautifully he said, I don't want you to be street dogs. I want you to be street lamps. So we are not here to spread his message by speaking and by convincing people, though this dog is still barking. Allow me to. But it's more important that we shine his light through our lives, through our actions, through our words, through our deeds. It's so important that every action of ours that we do to our in front of our children, or as a family, as a group, as communities, we are carrying his light. And that is the light others see. The light of selflessness that he taught us. The light of unity and love that he taught us. The light of discipline and dedication to any task that he taught us. The joy of doing things with no agenda, just for the joy of serving with love. that he taught us. That is the light that people see. And you know that. People have already, the community takes note of it. All over the world, people have known that Sai devotees are not the ones seeking they have no agenda of their own. There's no agenda for them when they get together. They don't praise each other unnecessarily. It is just all about serving Swami, you know. And that's a very powerful model, if you will, is given for the next generation, especially where spirituality has become all about fundraisings and planning of events. He's come and said, stop all that. That is not all about it. 2,000 years ago, Jesus Christ had to go into the temple and throw the merchants, right? I don't know if you know the story of Jesus. He went there and destroyed the shops in Rome, in Jerusalem. And he threw this thing against the temple. He said, this is not the place for business. And so Swami made it so clear that this path is not about events and collecting money and so on and so forth. It is about finding moments of transformation. It is about sharing love, giving love. And that is what he did. Every moment of his life, he did that. What touched me most was that how he was able to pay attention to small things versus big things. How he was able to transform each one of us through his divine leelas, at the same time through his teachings, through his example. Many, many years later, it was 1992, that my father was hinting to me that I get married. But of course, he wouldn't tell me directly. He'll tell my mother, and my mother will say, your father is telling, and so on and so forth, because they would not talk to me about it. I would say, see, we are in Swami's fold. There's no us doing anything. It's his. I've given my life to him. So he will decide when he has to. They said, no, this girl Maya is there. We know the family from Burma days, and she's now working in the hospital and this and that. And my father had decided he'll come to Swami. I said, you do what you have to. Swami will do what he has to. And so my father had decided that he will come after the summer holidays in 1992. He somehow decided I'll talk to Swami. 1992 summer, he went to Brindavan, took namaskar from Swami and went home. On April 1st, he had this conversation. April 9th, they left for Bhopal, where my sisters are, the summer holidays. And I bid them goodbye. I stayed back. I was working in Swami's Central Trust then. So was my father also, but he had gone for the summers. Because summer, Swami goes to Kodaikanal or Brindavan. Nobody is there in Puttaparthi. So everybody in Puttaparthi also go to spend time with their families. So very, very few people stay back. And so on April 1st, he spoke. April 9th, he left. And reaching my sister's place, spending a week, April 19th, he got a heart attack, and 20th, he passed away. On 19th or 20th, he passed away. So when he was very sick, he had an heart attack, he was in the ICU, I got a telegram. First, I thought the family is just trying to woo me in by sending a false telegram so I can come and join them, because I would not go for any families get together because I had a lot of work in the ashram. So, but they also sent a telegram to the secretary, please send him, tell him we are not just joking, we are serious that he has to come. So I immediately I had no way to go to see my father back then, from Puttaparthi to Bhopal. So I just took a van and decided to drive. I hired a van and we drove. It took 2.5 days of continuous driving, 2 drivers. We drove, and I drove there. Of course, my father had passed away, and all I could see was my father's body and the eyes. The reason I'm saying this, there's something very powerful about service. And this story stays with me as one of my most, it's a direct experience from Swami, and it happens to me and my father, right? So it's very personal as well. In the years that my father came, they were not devotees initially. They were very much not for Swami at all. They were very orthodox Brahmins, if you will. They had the Kanchi Mahaperiva and in Kanchipuram, and they were very clear about who their gods were and gurus were. And Swami was not one of their gurus at that point. But Swami opened the door through my sisters and so on. And anyway, that's a long story. I don't know if I've told the story even in Dallas' birthday because I've given so much talk since the 23rd. I don't know what I spoke on 23rd, so pardon me. So I'm also thinking, did I speak this to you all? Am I repeating it again? But anyway, okay, thank you. The reason how they came to Swami was uh, none of us knew Swami. So I was searching for my guru, and where is my guru in this? How can I form my own faith? And that's what I was telling the young adults as well today. And I tell you all, I always tell this, I don't feel shy about it because it's so important. You churn your own faith inside out to make sure that it has got firm roots inside. What is your story? Where is my connection? What is that one experience? Even if the whole world goes on the other side, I will not. It's an unshakable experience in my heart. Do I have one? Then yearn for it. Ask for that. And God will give you that experience. No matter what, He will give you, because that is our divinity we are trying to invoke. That divinity has to rise. It's our divinity that connects to His divinity. Because we are one. We are all one in that, right? And so for me, I was searching for that. I heard Swami knows everything that's going on in everybody's life. He's got this power, that power. I was like, but I don't have a story. So as I was staying in, and I'll connect all of this, okay? Allow me to. And so as I was staying there, I was yearning for this. It took 1.5 years. And in the first interview of Swami, he pushed me in one little corner in the room, in the inner room. As soon as I entered, he pushed me and he said, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? In the years that I stayed there, my father, because now that I'm in Sai Baba's college, they had an issue at home. What was that? My eldest sister had been married for 11 years and she had not conceived. She wanted to have a child. She didn't have a child. She didn't get one. And therefore, they tried everything, whatever medically was possible at that time. And they had gone to a lot of sadhus and sannyasis and everybody for blessings, many Vedic astrologers and all of that. Nothing had worked for them. So now that Sunder Iyer is there, maybe let's roll the dice that direction, right? Because they also heard Sai Baba can do this. So my father will write a letter to me. Your mother wants you to ask. He won't say it, your mother wants you to ask Swami about Bhuvana. Bhuvana was my sister's name. Ask Bhuvana. And I would politely reply, yes, when I get a chance. But in my mind, I said, there's no way I'm going to get up on my knees and say, Swami, my sister wants to have a baby. For two reasons. One, I couldn't understand where is the connection between telling Swami if they want to have a baby, they might as well do whatever they have to do. What will I do telling Swami, my sister wants to have a baby? I just couldn't understand. Couldn't link the two. So I never told Swami about it. But I knew the whole family was pining for this, and there was a kind of a sad undercurrent and so on, whatever. So in that moment when Swami cornered me, Swami is eager to open the door for my family because they are extremely devoted to Krishna, to Shiva and Murugan. My mother will sit and, just like we sit and cry and thinking of Swami, she would cry when the Murugan, and she would sing with great feeling. So it was just Swami wanted to tell her, wait, I'm here. Just look this side. I'm right behind you. Sometimes we pray to God and He comes in a form we don't want or we don't know and we don't recognize Him. He's right there for us. He never fails us. He's always there. It could be a mosquito. It could be our little dog coming and lying at our feet. At that moment, somewhere God always responds when you call Him. And so it seemed Swami was more eager. So he asked me, what do you want? What do you want? Enna vanam? Kya mangta hai? 3 languages he asked. I was very nervous because it was so close. For the very first time I saw him, no, nothing. No, tell me what do you want? What do you want? And he was coming even closer. At that moment, this letter thing came in my mind because 3-4 letters had already come by then. So this thing came in my mind. I said, Swami, my sister. I was about to tell him the case, like present the case to him. So I said, okay, Swami, my sister. Your sister. And then the next 1.5 minutes was an amazing outpouring of exactly what was going on in my family. Is it everybody, 11 years, no child? I know. Everybody's crying. How many doctors they saw? How many sadhus they have seen? Or somebody's giving orange, somebody's giving banana, nothing worked. And then your mother is saying, Ayyo, Muruga. Swamiji knows everything. Swamiji knows everything. 8 months, baby boy. Swamiji prasad deta hai, 8 months mein baby boy hoga. He only said this, don't clap. Because saying is one thing, happening is one thing, right? I'm kidding, of course. I was that happy. First of all, omniscience, that was my first experience of omniscience. Omniscience means I know, right? How did I know that he knew it? There was no possible way, because Swami had not known me even physically then. So there was no possible way he would have known this much detail about my family. And even my mother asked, how did he know I'm saying Muruga, Muruga? I said, you ask him, don't ask me. And so I was so amazed at that outpouring of knowledge. It was almost, there was no pause in that. The moment I said my sister, it was like, Abba finally opened his mouth. And it went 1.5 minutes or so. He just told me so much details and ended up with such clarity. So the next is now omnipotence, right? Omnipotence is the ability to manifest anything. So among many things, my mind was swirling that time. I said, what is this 8 months? Shouldn't it be 9 months? What is the 8 months? And what if it's not a baby boy? Why was he so specific? It has to be a boy. He could have just sold a child, because I'm looking for faith. What if it is not a boy? And so I was sitting, of course, the other thing, he said, okay, that's why your sister, what do you want? What do you want? And that's when I said, I want to be in your room. Oh, okay, come from tomorrow, he said. And I was so happy, I hugged him and he pushed me back. He said, you're spoiling my hair, he said. Hey, dhunna pota, you're spoiling my hair. Immediately he was so conscious, he adjusted his whole hair. I was like, oh, okay. But so I was very excited, and that's it. He pushed me out of the room. That's it. Job done with this guy. So I come out and I'm sitting there in the group, and Swami is taking the others in and out. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, now Swami is two things. One is, okay, I'm going to get to be in Swami's room. I'm going to come tomorrow. That was exciting by itself. The other side is, Swami said 8 months, and it's going to be a boy. And he said, Swamiji prasad deta hai. That means Swami is going to give a prasadam. And this must be some really amazing prasadam he's going to give, because my sister has not had a baby, and he's the way he explained the problem, everybody is upset. I know, and I'm like, yeah, of course. So what kind of thing he's going to do? I'm going to look for some real amazing miracle. Again, when we think a problem is big, we think the solutions also have to be equally dramatic and big. Sometimes the solutions are so simple and too good to be true that we ignore it. We look for solutions the way we imagine it. Why? Because we already imagined the problem is big, so solution has to be big. Solution is very simple in Swami. So what happens is he comes and he's talking to everybody. He goes to the windowsill, and then there is a plastic basket, which you would have probably seen in some old videos. He picks up that basket and starts giving vibhuti packets to everybody. So everybody's taking it, touching his feet, and then taking the prasadam and sitting down. So I'm like, okay, this means perhaps the interview is getting over. And so what about that prasadam for my sister? Like, I came this close now. What do I write to my parents? So I hope he's not forgotten it. So he's coming, and I also let my hand out. He gave it. And I was looking at him like, he said, what? Kya hai? I said, Swami, sister prasadam. And then he said, Diya, I gave you now, send this. He said, I've given you, send this. So I looked at the prasadam, I looked at prasadam in everybody's hand, and I said, this is, in my mind, clearly, I told you, in Hindi, my head was going, he said, ye to nahi hone wala hai, kuch nahi hoga. This is not going to work. Did everybody ask for babies or what? I don't know. It couldn't have been possible. What happened to that? I thought Swami is going to materialize something and give me something for my sister, maybe an orange or some other fruit which she didn't get from other sadhus. I don't know. Honestly, I was so disappointed that this is, and I was sure, I just stared at it like this. I looked at him again. And he said, and he told everybody, see these boys, doubting Thomas. These boys, all doubting Thomas, no faith. And he told me, your sister has more faith than you, send it to her. Everything will be nice. Everything will work the way I want. I didn't have the faith, but nevertheless, I did pack it and send it to my sister in that registered post. And within 8 months, she did give birth to a boy. And that door, now you can clap. And she conceived almost immediately after taking that, because 8 months you don't have much time, right, from the day. It was such a miracle that the whole family was waiting for, that was unquestionably opened the door for a large group of devotees of Shiva and Muruga who at same intensity just was directed to Swami, and they found their prayers directly now being fulfilled because they had a living God to relate to. But in that interview, among the other things, then he said, doubting Thomas, doubting Thomas. But he saw that I also wanted to see how did he manifest things from a very close quarters, from his hand. Until then, even though I was staying there with boys, it was always at a distance. I wanted to really get under his hand and see. As a young boy, I was very curious. So very sweetly, he put the basket down, he rolled up his sleeves, and over my face, literally, he rotated his hand. Okay, this is what you want, something. Want to watch here? Take it. I saw this, I was going like this. I was very excited. And then he closed his hand, and when he opened it, it was a very beautiful silver locket. And he said, keep it. This is for you. Keep it. I am your Sarathi, Sanatana Sarathi. Ippudu nunchi, he said. From now on, I am your guru. Because that's what I was searching for. My guru. Where is my teacher? Where is my God? He sealed it. Said, no more searching. Here, I am the one for you. So, this is how my parents became devotees. And then 85, 86, they came to Swami, and my father gave up his job, and Swami said, come and work in this trust. He was the one who introduced double entry bookkeeping, all of that, and started helping with the account section and so on and so forth. In 91, 92, my father was very traditional. So I never sat and he never said, son, let's talk as friends. What's the plan? It was always, hey, do this, do that. Or talk to my mother, tell him, and things like that, right? But it's strange that 91, I had some kind of a disagreement with people in college, and I told Swami I don't want to teach anymore. It was regarding with some sports meet, something. I told Swami I don't want to teach anymore. I want to be in the mandir. Give me some other work. I was like a spoiled child maybe at that time. And so Swami allowed me to work in the central trust with my father. And so he's on one side. That's the closest I got to my dad. I didn't sit on his lap, but I sat at the table next to him. Little did I know that would be the final 2 years with my dad. So he's giving me a chance to spend time with him, know him. And I really admired the way my father would work, because he would not go for darshans. He'd say, Swami has given me accounts job. I have to fulfill the role. And for him, he had his role models were Kutumrao Garu and Chiranji Rao Garu. They were, for those of you who know the olden days, these were people who were so devoted to Swami, and their faith is something, I've never seen something like that. I can never claim to have faith to that extent. If Swami would tell them, jump into the well, yes, Swami, and they'll go and jump into it. They won't sit and analyze Swami. They will follow it to the letter. That's their job. They were like that. And even to the last day, Sri Kutumrao Garu had throat cancer, and he would actually go to the office and spit blood into the trash can because he was bleeding internally, but he would work. He told Swami, I'm not going to the hospital, I'm going to work till my last breath. And so he did. He would go up, and not once Swami gave him prasadam for it, nothing. Imagine somebody who goes to Swami morning and evening is slowly dying of cancer. And he says, I'm not going to even ask Swami. I don't want you to cure me, Swami. Let me go through my karma, but just give me a chance to serve you. So my father, for him, these were the role models. So he would also not go for darshan. So whenever Swami wants to talk or something, he will tell me, go call your father for interview, and he would come. And January 16th would be his birthday. 14th will be Shankranti. So invariably after sports meet, Swami will want to talk to me. So he'll say, go call your father, it's his birthday. And he would give us a chance to, give us as a family to spend time with him. So I got to learn a lot from my father. The other thing was, he was always into rituals. And I always thought rituals was something like a kindergarten in spirituality. You know, what is this rituals? What is this simply doing something? Of course, I do all of that now. It's like completing a circle. But there is, we have to be, in the sense, do it knowingly. Why are we doing it? What are we doing? What am I doing by this? I didn't have a chance to learn it then, so I didn't understand it, didn't appreciate it. And I was often asked my father, when Swami is there, he's not told us to do this. Why are you doing it? He said, no, I just want to do this only. This is the way I connect to Swami. I don't know about your yoga and all. It was like that. While I thought he was just in the kindergarten stages of spirituality, and I was into meditation and yoga, so somehow I am above. Like all youngsters think, they know better than parents. Nothing wrong with y'all, by the way. That's how we do. And so when we would come to Swami, and before coming to an interview, invariably, I remember this 2 or 3 times, my father will have a laundry list of things he wants to ask Swami. So-and-so in this family has this problem. They're all writing to me. I have to ask Swami all this. And he'll make a big list. My mother will say, Ama, ninga poi kalunga paakalam. Saying like, okay, I know you will talk all this. Let's see how much you're going to ask Swami. And the first time I saw this, it really brought tears to my eyes, because he will have this list. Swami's called him, so he'll prepare these questions to ask Swami. He'll sit. And he'll come and say, Swami will call us inside. And I sit in the middle, my parents on either side. And we'll get close to Swami. Right under his feet we will sit. And he'll look at Swami and he'll just go, and he'll start, start crying. Because he won't have words to speak. And Swami will tell me, this is devotion. This is devotion. He never spoke to Swami. He couldn't. Then when he comes out, I'll ask him, so what happened to the list? Chumar, he'll say. He'll say, keep quiet. He could never speak. He'll want to, but in the presence, he wouldn't be able to. He couldn't. And yet somehow, all the list that he had was somehow answered. It is like Sudama's story happening all over again. We know the story of Sudama. For some of you who don't know that, young boys, there was this Krishna and his friend. They grew together. And Krishna became the king. And his friend became a poor Brahmin. Not became, they chose to be. One followed to choose, they chose careers out of their choice, because they felt their inner calling was that. He was very content and happy, correct? But his wife was nagging him. She said, every time you talk about Krishna, go ask him that we need food on our plate. We are struggling here. Please ask him to give you a job. Okay. And so in order to stop his nagging wife, he says, okay, let me go to Krishna, and she prepares a list of what to ask him. And he says, okay. And she also prepares a small little puffed rice, something you said Krishna likes this when you were playing. This was his dish. Here, she makes a dish of poha and gives it to him. He takes that also and goes to Krishna. And Krishna recognizes him. Even though Krishna is a king, he recognizes him. Hey, how are you? And calls him inside. They have a great time. Sudama sees Krishna and he forgets why he went there. And so he is so lost in the good old days with Krishna, and he laughs with him. They cry together, laugh together, thinking of all the olden days. And then when he's on his way back, he realizes, oh my God, I forgot to ask. But then when he comes home, he sees instead of his poor hut, there stands a mansion, right? And his wife is bedecked with jewelry. The story has a very profound meaning. Swami would often say, you come to Kalpavriksha and you ask for coffee powder. Coffee powder, coffee powder, you get coffee powder, that's all. You ask coffee powder, you'll get coffee powder. But you are going to the wish-fulfilling tree. You could ask for so much more, correct? Or you just sit knowing that the tree knows what I really want. That trust is there, sitting at the feet of the tree, knowing. And it was that I saw repeating with my father. He would just go, he couldn't ask, because he was so overwhelmed by being in Swami's presence. So seeing these people, Kutumrao Garu, Kasturi Garu, and all of them being in Puttaparthi, he was so inspired by them. He said, I should also die in Puttaparthi. I also want to die in Puttaparthi. I want to serve Swami like this, and my last breath should be in Puttaparthi. That was his dream. And I didn't doubt that for a second, because he barely went home. He just went to Bhopal and came, or went to Delhi and came, where both my sisters were. One was in Delhi at that time, one was in Bhopal. So he just barely went there for summers and came back. So I never doubted anyway. I said, why are you talking about death and all of that? And both he and my mother will discuss. If I'm going first, you chant Gayatri in my ear. She'll say, yeah, when it's same thing with me also. When I'm going, you do that. I'll say, there are better things to talk, right? You do. Is this your pastime or something? But they actually would talk like that. You don't cry, you should do this for me. And because they were so inspired by Swami. And so here I am in Bhopal. Not for a moment I thought he would die there. I thought he'll be serious. Somehow I'll bring him back to Puttaparthi because I know my father is always selling this. And so I go there, I see him dead. And so for me, this was 1992. I have known Swami from 79. There was no more any doubts in my mind about Swami's divinity. It was just, I felt a lot of anger with Swami. I said, why did you do this to him? That it was not about his death. I said, it's okay, he could have died, but that was his only desire. So of course my mother was shocked. She said, "You Paris, he wanted to die in Puttaparthi. See what happened now, why is Swami testing me and all of that." Anyway, we went through all of that, but I was so upset that I didn't even send a telegram to Swami from Bhopal about what happened. So my brother-in-law asked, "Do you want to inform Swami about it?" I said, "No, I'll see about that later." I didn't want to talk to Swami. So why did you do this to him more than anybody else? Sometimes we are at that point in life. Sometimes we come across situations, we feel, what is the saying? I don't know if that's a saying, but we feel he abandoned us. It's a feeling. He doesn't. It's a feeling sometimes. So at that moment, I thought he abandoned my father. So why would he do this? Anyway, I stayed there, finished the 13 days, 15 days, whatever it was. Because I said, this is Bhopal. I won't even remember where I took him to the funeral. It's some godforsaken place. I won't even there was no reason for me to come back. And so why this? So insignificant it was for me. When I came back to Brindavan, this was April 20th. So when I came back, it was May 1st week. So when I came back to Brindavan, I sat in the darshan line. Swami saw me. And of course, later on, a week later, I did write to Swami. I'm away from the ashram. I've not come because my father died in Bhopal. I'll come, whatever I want, I wrote to Swami. And give me a second. No, I'm good. I'll take it. Thanks. So when I came to Swami, as soon as he came out from Trai Vrindavan, he saw me sitting. He came straight to me, and he's indicated I take his namaskar. I took his namaskar. It was very sweet. And he said, "Don't worry, I'm here." And then immediately his eyes became bright, and he said, "Hey, did the boys tell you? Did the boys tell you?" I was like, "Swami, what did they tell me?" "I'll come and tell you. I'll come and tell you. Wait, I'm going for darshan. I'll come and talk to you." So he went. So I wanted to know what was it that Swami wanted me to know. And so as he went for darshan, in Vrindavan, the boys are separate and darshan goes on. So he goes out, gives darshan, and comes back. So I was just waiting for Swami to come back. Some of the MBA boys had gone with Swami. One of them came up to me and said, "Brother Sunder, sorry to hear about your dad." I said, "Yeah, okay, thank you." He said, "When did your father pass away?" I said, "April 19th. He said, "What time was it?" I said, "Around afternoon, 3:34. Why?" Then he opens his diary and he says, "Listen, I want to tell you something. Swami was talking to us that afternoon, and he suddenly paused and looked up for some time. He kept quiet. Then he asked us, 'How many of you know Sunder Iyer?' So we all raised our hands. And then he said his father, Dandapani, just reached my feet. So he said, 'Hey, I wrote this. Swami said this.' And I said, 'Are you sure?' Because this is happening at a moment where there is such a distance and at the same time. So Swami comes back, and Swami is coming into Trai Vrindavan, has many ways to enter. So he indicated to me, go through the main entrance, and he was coming from the side entrance. By the time I went up the stairs and I went to the main entrance, he came, and there's a jula there. He comes and sits on the jula, and then he indicates to me, I'm standing 20 feet away from him, and he started swinging. That darshan was amazing. So he's swinging, his feet comes up, and he's not shouting, but his loud voice, not angry, but yet very, very divine. "Who do you think I am?" he says. "Nenu evaru anukuntunnavu," he said. And he continued in Telugu. He said, oh, you think your father had to die here and that? That is body. The body can go anywhere. I gave him my feet. What else do you want? What else do you want? And he's swinging. And I was truly, that was a darshan I can never forget. It wasn't my Swami. It was a divine being talking. I get emotional because of that moment. Yeah, Maya told me this. Make sure you have tissues. I can never forget that moment. So I could see his feet. That kind of, I am the king. I know what I'm talking about. And he says, Enduki Chandalsa, he asked, you know why I gave my feet? Seva chesadu. He served. That's all. He didn't say he served me. Seva chesadu. Seva chesadu. Andukosam ichanu. He served, and that's why he gets my feet. Service. So, when we talk of being instruments of Swami, know that there is no sadhana outside service. You don't have to worry about, oh, I'm so caught up in meetings and Zoom calls and phone calls and organizing this. That is the sadhana. Because we are touching so many lives, we don't have to have our own quote-unquote spiritual practice. We may think there is no time for my own practice. But he doesn't care, because that is the offering he seeks. Because in that being selfless, you're not putting yourself there in the picture at all. It's about serving the world. And to him, that is what gives you the highest. And so to me, that lesson is so powerful. And that's why it was that after he passed away, I just couldn't continue with a 9-to-5 job. I had to give back. And so it was, that was the Swami that we lived with day in and day out. That was a Swami I saw. That was a Swami that transformed my life in so many, many ways. But it was the same Swami who was childish, who was so innocent, so mysterious, if you will. When I was new to Swami, I was sitting in his room, pressing his feet one day, and Jagdishan, Brother Jagdishan from Malaysia, many of you older devotees might know him. Again, not that anybody's old here. I mean older in the sense, known Swami for many years. And so he had written a book, Journey to God, part 1 and 2. And this was the first book he had written, and he had given it to Swami, and so Swami had it with him. And so Swami carried it upstairs with him to his room. It was there lying on his table next to Swami's chair. So he finished his dinner, everything, and he came, when I came and sat at his feet, another boy here, he was opening and just glancing through that book. And suddenly now, like a 5-year-old watching a cartoon or a book of interest, he's opening and seeing pictures in that book. That caught his attention. And his eyes became big. And he's glancing at something. I didn't know what it was. And just in a few seconds, that'll be revealed. He's watching. And he took a couple of pages and watched. Then he turned it around. He said, see, Vibhuti ustunanda, Vibhuti. It seems Vibhuti is coming in Malaysia and Singapore. And he's showing Kutumara, Chudu, pa. Kumkum kuda ustunanda. See, even Kumkuma is coming. No, he's very serious. There was no mischievous smile there. And I was so confused. I was thinking, wait a minute, aren't you the one who's supposed to be doing this? Why are you? It threw me off completely. Whom is he talking about? He was so genuinely, it was like he was watching his own Leela. And as a child, there was no I in that moment. When I understood that later on, because I kept going back to that. Why would Swami do that? Why would Swami do that? And as I lived many years with him, began to understand this personality of God, Godhood, if you will, divinity, if you will, there was no I. He could have easily said, see what I am doing. What are you guys? Don't even realize what I am doing. At that moment, it was, oh my gosh, the Leela was so grand, so beautiful, that he also enjoyed it, like we would enjoy it. There was no I there. He truly didn't have that I. It was an innocent, simple, straightforward, divine enjoyment along with us. So he was witnessing his own creation. He was witnessing his own Leela, as if he had nothing to do with it. And he said, see what all is happening everywhere. It was that Swami we saw. The Swami that was so innocent. And I was sharing some of these with the wise this morning, and allow me to repeat myself here. It was same thing with the drama again. It was a small little, while he didn't like us acting as rowdies, and he said, I don't want you to do this even in a drama. Don't bring these kind of thoughts. I don't want you to engage in this kind of thoughts, even for a drama. There were other things where he would become very childish. He would, there was a drama on the 65th birthday. It's unity, purity, divinity. That's when I actually wrote this drama from scratch. Swami said, I want 100 boys on the Shanti Vedika. We have to talk about unity. That's so dear to me. And that was such a beautiful thing he shared. Anyway, in that he said, in the end, more than 100 boys should be on the stage and make a scene like that, where everybody sings and there is unity of all religions. Andaru kalasi melisi untam. Those are the time, around that time, Swami was talking about kalasi melisi perugutam, kalasi melisi tirugutam. That is, let us get together and grow and mix and all of that. So, in that scene, in the last scene, so we created a scene where there's a kind of a drought and everybody comes together and they pray and it rains. Only when they pray together, it rains. That kind of a thing we did. So we had to create rain. How do we create rain? We didn't have too much of digital media then. So there was no fake water we could do. So we actually, and Shanti Vedika was big enough for us to play something. So we had 5 or 6 boys go up and with the gardening cans, with the ones that, and so they would spread themselves out and create this rain from there. So there was a sheet of rain, if you will, a screen, if you will, of rain, and we were behind it. All the other actors were behind it. So Swami had come and seen this in the rehearsal, and he was so amused by that. They're going all the way up. Be careful, be careful. And he just couldn't get over, how did you even think of that idea, kind of a thing. We thought, what is so big about it? We wanted water, we just go up and pour water, right? But he found it very amusing, very, so happy that on the final day, on his birthday, he watches this drama till about the last scene. Before the last scene, he sends word, I want this President of India is there, is sitting in that pit in front of Shanti Vedika. He tells him, come, we'll go inside and watch. I have to show you something. So he gets the chair moved inside between 2 scenes. We are wondering what happened. Swami wants it be moved. I said, where? Moved? Where? And we are behind stage. We are ready to get to the next scene. And then we suddenly see that right behind the stage, on the side like this, there's Swami's chair kept, and next to him, President. I'm like, why is he doing here? It's like from seeing it from behind the drama. Nobody watches a drama from behind. So he is sitting, the scene starts. And Swami is telling the president, watch how these boys will go up. The rain is coming from. He wanted the president to see what the boys are doing. And president was of course, very polite. Yes, Swami, yes, Swami. He was so happy that the rain is coming and the boys are behind the rain. It was so childish. Of course, we felt a little this thing that Swami, you should have sat there and enjoyed it rather than telling everybody exactly how the rain comes. We were more interested in the effect of the drama, but he was touched by the beauty of it, and he was so childlike. So there was this childlike personality of Swami, very childlike, very beautiful part of it. And yet there was also a part where it was, I can never get over this authenticity that he saw, he wanted in drama. When he watched a play, when I know your children have done plays, Sister Chitra has a beautiful picture. And so that has triggered so much memories since yesterday, because when you would watch plays, you will become one with them. It wasn't like, oh, some kids are coming from US, so let's simply entertain them, let's make them happy. It was never like that, okay? When you do a play, he becomes one with the play. He becomes that character. Whoever at that moment is speaking, he'll become one with that character. And that's why he didn't like us playing rowdies, because in that childish nature, he didn't like that becoming that character that we were showing up. He was getting angry. No, I don't want to do this. Like you have children say, I don't want to see this movie. I don't like it. Because they don't want that emotions to come up, right? It is the same thing. The authenticity was, it was so amazing. For example, and I was directly a witness to many of these, and I'll share a couple of them. So there is this drama. Srikant Vaidyanathan is now the national devotional coordinator. You all know him. He was a very young boy when he came to Puttaparthi, and his voice was amazing when he sang Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva. He would sing that sloka and sing the bhajan. Swami just immediately took to him. So Swami said, so Swami wanted him to act as little Satya in the drama Cheppinatlu Chestara. So he said, one Dasara, he said, let's do that drama. And he picked up Srikant to act that play. And guess who the teacher was who got stuck on the chair? So I was the teacher who got stuck on the chair. And so the story goes, that's little Satya, Swami's own story, he wrote it. So this little boy goes and the teacher is not being ethical or whatever, and he gets stuck on the chair. He can't move. And then he asks forgiveness, and then he gets up and goes. So anyway, that was a story. So I was the teacher, and the teacher in those days had a black coat and a dhoti to wear, correct? And so I wore a Telugu-style dhoti and a black coat. How did I know to wear a dhoti? I didn't. So I asked some of the pundits there, can you please teach me? Come into the Purnachanda auditorium and teach me how to wear it. So I knew Swami was very particular. So he comes, that person came and taught me how to wear a dhoti. I wore the dhoti and I put the kurta on like this. It was this long, came right up to that. And there was the dhoti scene. I said, this is good enough. And I wore a black coat on top of that. I looked like a perfect headmaster. I was happy with it. Swami came and he looked at all the characters. Then he looked at me. And this is a few minutes before the drama. He looks at me and he says, what is this you're wearing? I said, Swami, dhoti, Swami. Because I thought maybe he wanted me to wear a pajama. He said, dhoti adi. Itla veskuntara. Are you a Brahmin? What is this? You being a Brahmin, he was just pulling my leg. And it's not like he was focusing on caste or anything. Don't misunderstand these things. But he was just pulling my leg because my name is Iyer, right? He was always pull my leg. So he said, if you being a priestly class, you should know. You don't know how to wear a dhoti? Come here, he said. So I went to Swami. He pulled the kurta up and I held it up. And he pulled the pleats and he started, making the pleats and tying it. Then he puts, and then I put bagundi, and he tucks it in and he puts the kurta back. I put the kurta back. He put bagundi. I said, Swami, thank you, Swami. And I looked down, it looked exactly the same. I'm not joking. It is exactly the same. I didn't do it. I honestly didn't think there was any big difference. But for Swami, he put bagundi. And he started going to others. So for the ones, I don't know, it means a lot to me today. Every act of Swami I know has other implications. Today I wear dhotis when I do pujas and I realize maybe Swami did just set that in motion at some point back there. But anyway, the point here was that for Swami, that authenticity was something for him it had to be clear. Even a little bit somewhere here and there, he won't be happy about it, right? So he has to fix it. And then, of course, my role in that whole drama was sitting on the chair and getting stuck. So nobody would have ever noticed, even if it was badly tied, it would have not noticed it. And we, if you have SSC teachers, we know when we're planning a drama, we'll say, hey, he's only going to sit. Nobody's going to notice. It's okay. Let's do it. We say that. But there's somebody who will notice that. Somebody wanted it to be perfect. So that is how he was. And the other drama was Bhajagovindam, where I was the Pandit. And incidentally, now I begin to think I was Pandit in many dramas or teachers, and wearing this dhoti became like a tradition for me for his dramas. So in that Pandit role, I was a chief Pandit among the 5 Pandits who are very proud of their knowledge. And then Adi Shankara walks by and he says, what are you so proud about? It is only God's, that detachment is what we need. So he sings Sura Mandira Taru Mula Nivasa. He says, in the sky, a small place under the tree by the temple is more than enough for me to stay. Okay? That's a beautiful song. You see, that scene is very nice. But the scene begins with the curtain opens and I sing a small Telugu Sanskrit verse because I'm the Kashi Vishwanath Pandit. And so I introduce myself, I introduce my friends. That was a nice scene. Swami would love that scene because it's all proud Pandits showing off. And we had one big guy, Prasad Rao, he'll come and Swami will laugh when he comes. And it was very beautiful. We did it in Puttaparthi, then he took us to Bangalore. Then just before we going to Bangalore, he said, he asked me, see, you are the main Pandit, you don't have that bangle. You should have bangle. You have the bangle, Pandit's bangle. I said, I didn't even know there were 4 bangles. I don't know what they call it. Kada. Yeah, like kada is a Hindi word, but I think there must be a Telugu word. But anyway, kadiyam. Kankanam. Kankanam. Yes, kankanam. They wore kankanam because Swami used that word. So, kankanam unda nigara. I didn't even know what that was. Anyway, so I said, then Swami said, wait. He goes into his room, he brings a box. I still have that box. He opens it, and there's a beautiful kankanam that he keeps for priests. He said, show your hand. And then he took it and put my hand on his stomach, and he put that kankanam. And then he muttered also, kankanam kattunanra, nenu niku kankanam kattunanu. He said that, and he ties it. It's very loose. Even to this day, it's very big. So he pushes it all the way till here. Then he pulls my kurta out. Bagundi. Just think of what he did. The kankanam has gone inside, the kurta has come out. Bagundi. And then on top of that, we had a shawl. The Pandits wear a shawl. Swami sent that shawl also. So we wore a shawl on top of that. So in the drama, nobody ever even would have thought, is he wearing a kankanam inside? It was never even seen. It was not seen. It was not part of the drama in any way, visually. But there was him who was very happy because he saw a Pandit, and inside out, he saw that kankanam fit in. Right? Those are things I still think, what was it that he was trying to teach us? What was the message he did? Did he bless me for what I was going to do later? I don't know. There are so many ways to look at it. But at the simplest level, it was that authenticity. That role had to be played. Everything had to be very, very authentic for him. And nothing other than that would happen. It is the same thing with another drama, the 65th birthday. I talked about the unity drama. In that one scene, I'm a Pandit. Again, I'm doing the Harikatha Kalakshemam. So I'm singing a song on Harishchandra Chakravarti, Harishchandra. I sing, and brother Balu Karnam, who's now the national coordinator for the Global Council. He was one of the students, and we had a very good time practicing because he acted very well. And Swami laughed so much because he acted like the typical chelas, they do, like that and all. And Swami just like that, he laughed so much. Swami had tears in his eyes. And so innocent he was, a little bit of joke would crack him up. And so we had this, between him and me, we had this nice scene going. And we liked it because Swami, every time Swami will come, he'll love it. Because I get to sing. Swami likes that, the padyams you sing, he likes that. And he liked this proud Pandit again. And so the day before the drama, this is 65th birthday, and the day before the drama, the 21st, he calls me in the night, and not in the night, I'm sorry, in the evening after the Aarti, he just points to me, I go inside. He said, no, tomorrow you're going to do the drama. Chitukulu unda nee dagara itla chestunave eppudu chuste nu itla, because in that Harikatha I'm doing it with my fingers, because where do I go for this kind of chitukulu? Is that I don't know the Tamil word, but you know what I'm talking about. Chipla kattai we say in Tamil, or chitukulu I think they say in Telugu. Correct? Yeah. So anyway, so unda nee dagara, I said, my God, then it's last minute. I said, Ledhu Swami, dunna pota. And he said, Swami, I said, where do I go, Swami? Undu, he said. He went upstairs, he came back, he said, Idi nadi, petko. This is mine, keep it carefully, he said. And I have that with me, one of my greatest treasures. It was one of the ones, and later on, the devotee said, this is the one Swami used, man, for many years ago. He's given it to you. So I treasured it. I was so happy that Swami gave me. Keep it carefully. I will ask for it later on, he said, but he never did. Very sweetly, I took it, and for the drama, I had that. Again, it was such a big stage, and I was so lost. I could have very well carried on with this. But for Swami, it was that, no, he can't be just doing this. That has to be there. And he parted with, that to me. So again, there are lessons like this you learn, because why? Why am I telling these lessons? It's because when we pay attention to small details, the smallest thing is authentic, then the biggest things take care of themselves. In the smallest things, we say, nobody is going to watch, nobody cares, let me do this. Then that's our problem. I think our difference lies there. That we think it's small and therefore it doesn't matter. For him, he says, the smallest thing is what matters the most. That anoraniyan mahatomaya, the smallest of the small, I pay attention to, because I am there in that act. So the small acts that we do in the privacy of our home, when nobody is watching or nobody will know, can we make that worthy of offering to Swami? To me, that's the lesson I take home. So even now, when I'm setting up KYG, a lot of people ask, why are you doing all this so much work? Who is going to care about this spending? And why are you taking this corner? I said, no, it is that. It is this lesson that inspires me. How can I ignore that? It bothers me. If it bothers me, I can't think it's not, nobody is going to see it. I saw it, right? So I have to give respect to me, and therefore I'll fix it. You get my point? So sometimes what happens is also, see, when you see something and you say nobody cares, I don't mind, let it be. I'll push it under the rug. Nobody will see. The guests are going to walk over it. They won't see under the rug. It's okay. But for you, if you compromise on what you think is wrong, that means you're not respecting yourself enough. But here Swami said, no, I want it correct. I don't care what others think. I want it correct. Similar thing with the Radhakrishna drama in the 60th birthday, the very first one we never understood. But that was the opening for me to understand this beautiful personality of Swami. A boy who sings very well, deep voice, male voice. When he sings Giridhara Gopala, we would be in bliss because it's such a deep, wonderful voice. Swami chooses him to be Radha. And Swami sits with him and trains him. Simple song, but Swami makes him sing. And a simple thing like aha, aha, he has to repeat it. He will repeat the same thing. Aha, aha, atla kadu. Aha, aha. And we sit and watching 10 minutes of aha, aha going on. There is no difference between this aha and this aha as far as we are concerned. We just politely will be listening. Then dunnapota, atla kadu, baga cheppu. Aha, aha. It'll go on like that. But Swami was looking for something in his heart, I guess. I don't know. That's the only way we can justify that. Finally, Swami was happy in an interview room where we were going through scripts, and he taught this song because Swami said, I've written the drama myself. And he had brought his notebook, the old notebook where he wrote. I don't know whether he gave it or whether he took it, I'm not sure. But it was a very old notebook with his handwriting. And he said, these are the songs I have written. So he taught those. So the song was Re Pe Sudinam Manaku Aha Aha. That's all. That one line took forever. So then Swami said, I'll come and watch on the stage. Go to your college now, you'll practice, I'll come and see there. And so Swami wanted to bring Anjali Devi and others to see this drama. It was the first time we actually students put up a play in a big stage, like a world conference, 60th birthday. That's where we did this rowdy scene and all that. And Swami said, don't do it again later on. Anyway, so he comes for this particular drama rehearsal. And then, by then, what we had told this boy that, hey, listen, you're doing very well, but how do you feel like singing in a male voice? Because that day you're going to wear ghagra choli, you're going to be dressed up as a girl with a gungat on top, and you come running, and then you're going to fall at Krishna's feet, and if you sing in a deep male voice, it might sound very odd. Correct, right? That's how we would think, correct? So why don't you kind of make it sound feminine if you can? He said, yeah, of course, man. Even I'm feeling very embarrassed. I'll try it. So Swami came and sat, and he comes and he sings a song. And Swami looks at him. Immediately Swami stopped. Kadra? Are you not feeling well? Your throat is something wrong with the throat. Swami, why your voice is sounding something very different. It was very genuinely asking, what happened? What happened to the practice in the I spent hours with you, what happened? So he couldn't understand. What happened to your voice? He said, no, Swami, because it's a female role, I thought I'll change my voice. He got so angry. Go sing in your natural voice. So on the 60th birthday, with thousands of people, one person who liked that role and enjoyed that role, I'm sure, who didn't feel it was odd, was Swami. All of us boys was like, oh gosh, this. But we did it for Swami, of course. And it was a big lesson for every one of us. Like this, I mean, if every boy spoke about the plays, I'm sure brother Satyajit, you would have heard. He has so many, everybody will go to this drama thing because there was so much interactions with Swami. And there were so many lessons we learned. So many windows into his personality, if you will. It was so unique. Who he was, how he was. It was very unique to see this part of Swami. So there's one Swami who sits on the Jula and says, you know who I am. I have given him place, and this mighty divine aspect. And then the other aspect who says, I'll fix your dhoti for you, you don't look good. How does this happen? And how is that, the vastness of that personality? It was not that once you're there, you're always like that. He always also had the humility. It was natural for him to come down and fix your dhoti for you, come down and serve food for you. He didn't do that to teach us to serve. It is who he was. It is who he truly was. He'll say, oh, you're hungry, wait a minute. He'll go to the kitchen, he himself will get plates, he'll give it to us, he'll start serving. You know, so this mysterious personality, that's why I call him a phenomenon. Who am I to label him as God or not God? What do I know about this idea of God, that I can call him God? I don't, but I call him as somebody whom I can never understand, can never even fathom to understand. Because what he did physically seemed impossible to me. In his room, living the way he did, not for one weekend, not for a month, not for a year, but every day of his life, living in a room which was barely 10 feet by 12 feet with one straight back chair. His only pastime is reading letters. He comes out for a walk, it is darshan. We talk of being under pressure. We get, we feel one person is watching us, we feel awkward. Thousands of people's eyes are on Swami, and he goes for a walk. That is the only walk he gets. And then he's again picking up devotees' letters. He comes to the bhajan hall. The only music he gets is bhajans where all of us are crying, Moksha do, Daya karo, Kripa karo, again. And then he goes to his room. Again, there's a pile of letters to read. Just think of that for a moment and ask yourself, can I do this? And if you say you can, I would say yes, you can do it for a weekend maybe. If you're doing for a week, you'll be on Instagram. See what I'm doing. I'm here like this, alone in this room. And then you look for how many people have liked it and so on. What was motivating him? We ask ourselves, what motivates us to be in Swami's service? How can we be motivated to do the selfless service? What motivates? I used to ask, watching him, what motivated him to do this every day in and out? It was almost a self-imposed punishment, if you will. For me, that was the way I could think of. And then I saw him because of that. Was he famished? Was he dull in his thinking? Was he, depressed at any point? Because you would be if you're doing this all the time, day in and day out. But no, he was so vibrant with energy, even more eager to give, even more out to do something. The clarity of his visions were never compromised. He called the shots, every single shot in the ashram. The buck stopped with him. He knew that. He called the shots with great confidence. He'll say, not to this now, later for that now, do this now. That came with such clarity that people around him never questioned him. Nobody spoke to him. Nobody started a conversation in his private room unless he would say, Em Samacharamu, what is the news or what is going on? Then they will speak. At first, I thought he was lonely. Then I realized there was an aloneness. I understood the meaning of lonely versus aloneness. In that aloneness, he was God. Again, I'm using that word God very mindfully because I don't have any other word which is short and easy to say. But he was that. He seemed to tap into a source that was unending in its capacity to give. And that's what made me believe that there is God truly exists, that there's a principle that we can tap into. If he can do it, so can we. That feeling I got at that moment. But that's why I'm saying we need to resist the temptation. We can glorify our Guru, we worship the Guru, we can adore him, we can do all of that. But let us not create the distance of putting him up in an altar and thinking he could do, I cannot. Let us never leave this altar feeling I am weak. Because he showed us what you can do and he lived with us, inside us. Entane, gentane, ventane, kantane untanu, he said, right? And so for somebody who says that I'm all around you, in you, with you, around you, why don't we feel that? Because we choose not to believe in it. We make a choice. And that conscious choice becomes subconscious. We think in being devotees, we get an escapism. Oh, no, I am only a devotee. I cannot do all that. But look at the chances, the role models that Swami portrayed. His role models of devotion were Arjuna, man of action, Hanuman, a warrior in action. It is people of action that he promoted as devotees. He would ask us, why did Krishna give Arjuna the status of a recipient of Bhagavad Gita? Man of action. Why is it that we look at Hanuman? We never think of Hanuman as, if we say Hanuman is humble, correct? We know Hanuman is known for his humility, wisdom, and everything, strength. But you never see a picture of Hanuman or a statue of Hanuman where he's sitting in a corner like this. I don't know, Rama knows everything, I don't know anything. We wouldn't have celebrated his story. Because he knew Rama was a doer and he was not, he rose up in confidence. When you know you are not the doer and he is the one, then why shy? Why shy away for anything? So if it is any role that we get a chance to play in his mission, I think we should take it proudly. We are not the ones to say, I can do it, I cannot do it. Give it a try. Fail. It's okay. Hanuman took that leap, not knowing if he didn't have a picture of Snapchat or Instagram where Rama quickly sent him one just before he took the leap. Here's the latest one, in case you see Sita. He has no idea how Sita looks like. He has a vague idea of the distance he's going to cover. He doesn't know what to expect there, and he took that leap. That leap is a very significant lesson for us, that leap of faith. How does one take that leap of faith? What is it that empowers that? Knowing that he is not the doer, and knowing that within him lies that divinity waiting to express itself. Sometimes we don't know that. I didn't know yoga was my path till I performed this in front of Swami. For me, it was just a feat to get his attention. That's all it was. When he came to the hostel many years ago in December 1980, because I was asking, what's my story? Where's my guru? How does he ask me, what's your name? Where are you from? How I got that chance. On December 25th, 1980, I got this chance. The hostel was being inaugurated. We boys said, let's do something for Swami. I said, there was talent search going on. I said, I can climb a rope and do asanas. They said, great, do it. I performed in front of Swami. And then he opened that door and came and asked me, not only came and asked me, he said, are you teaching the boys? He put me on that path right away. And then I suddenly realized that was my path. We don't know till that door opens, till you try something. You don't know, right? So if you get a call for being an office bearer or something, don't shy away. Take the challenge. And by the way, Chitra didn't tell me anything to say. I don't know. No, but wherever I go, I feel this diffidence. No, honestly, she didn't. I'm being honest about it. No, because wherever I go, I hear this. Oh, my gosh, it's such a this thing. Yeah, you have to take your time. It's not easy, nevertheless. Nevertheless, why not give it a try? Maybe you'll find something in you will reveal that you don't know existed. Maybe a weakness in you might get, maybe you'll know how to overcome irritation. Even maybe you'll learn the precious lessons of patience. How else will you learn, right? So there is a tremendous opportunity in service. And the beauty is because Swami makes it selfless, there is no other gifts that you can come other than spiritual gifts. Otherwise, if it was a pension fund that you would get if you join and become a coordinator of some kind, or you would get your photograph put on the wall, you might say, yes, let me selflessly offer myself so I can show my grandchildren. See, on November 26th, I got appointed, my picture's on this wall of fame. None of that you can tell anybody anything, right? You don't even have a badge to carry. You're just like anybody else. But so what is it that you get out of it? There is something deep inside of you that will reveal itself. And that's a precious opportunity. So never miss a chance to serve in any form. You don't have to be an office bearer at all, but even if it's a chance to serve, take that extra step, the time off, and give your talent, share that. Because in that sharing, something is revealed, something beautiful happens. When we started the online KYG thing, or even before sharing Swami's stories, when I came out of Puttaparthi, I locked Swami up in my heart. Because these are all very precious moments for me. And I didn't realize I have to share it with anybody. All that didn't happen. I knew I had to carry Swami's mission in some way, but I didn't realize what it meant. So Swami I locked him up. In 2000 or so, when I came to the US, somebody said, Brother Sunder, you sing well. Can you just come? We're around 4 of us. You can come and sing bhajans every Thursday. So only 4 people. I said, I started singing because the son plays very nice tabla and I like music. I wanted to be in touch with my singing. So I went there and sang bhajans and came. Then they said, can you share something about Swami? 2 minutes, just only 4 of us. Then I fell into that trap, if you will. But I'm so glad they opened that door. I remember them with great gratitude because when that sharing began, that little group became, a small, bigger group, a small little satsang at home, only friends, family, and slowly one thing led to the other. Um, there was something inside me that I thought I'm sharing something very personal, but I started getting back so much more. I started getting back to meeting people with so much more personal stories like that. And I'm like, my God, this is the Swami I lived with. This is the beautiful master I lived with, such a powerful master. Um, and so when we give, there is a magic that happens deep inside. In that sharing, we actually connect. And in that connecting, we actually grow. Believe it or not, we grow spiritually. We may not feel it. And that's the whole point of, if you say I've grown spiritually, you're not. But if you just, when the river merges into the ocean, there is no river to say I've become the ocean. It just becomes the ocean, right? So Swami asked us once, since I'm mentioning that, Swami asked us once, what is the end of spirituality? A very powerful lesson. And we said, Swami, merging into God. Ante, what does that mean? What does that mean? So one boy said, Swami, like the river merging into the ocean. Is that the end, he asked. We said, yeah, that's what we thought, right? Said, yes, Swami, that's the end. River merge aipote, is that the end? That's moksha. Antena. On Swami. Swami said, kadu, kadu. The river merges into the ocean. That is the end for the river. Then it begins living as the ocean. So it is beginning of the ocean. Living as the ocean is the beginning of spirituality, not end of spirituality, he said. Living as the ocean, when we are born in spirit, that's when we begin to live in spirituality. So those are the kind of days which open my mind that moksha is not after death. It is while alive, knowing that I'm no longer this. I'm no longer this. There's a part of me that is much bigger. And that can come with service. You're getting a chance. You don't need to have meditation mantras and great experiences where suddenly you saw that connection. That can come off and on. Yes, why not? But with service, you are actually invoking it in reality. You see somebody's joy and you feel happy. You connect to that, right? And in that sharing the consciousness without you knowing, the river is already becoming the ocean. And therefore here we are. We say we are a family. And the last 65 days I've been on the road. It's nice to be homeless, by the way. I'm kidding. Children, don't get ideas. Don't get ideas. I promise I won't say such things to SSC kids tomorrow. I have a secret snake story for them. Good one. So anyway, 65 days I've been on the road from one home to the other. Before going into home, I'll often think I have no idea who they are. The moment I step in, I feel I'm home. Because of one Sai Ram brother, Sai Ram, and that's it. Suddenly you're home. You have access to everything they have. Home is a private space, but they open it. And not only they, everybody says, why don't you come to our home? Why don't you come to our home? Why don't you come to our home? And so where does this happen? This is empowerment, right? Because of Seva, he's brought us together as one family, truly one family, where you're not hosting with no other intention other than just love. And when you're serving with no other intention but just love. That the attitude, the motive behind is just to give love, share love, and everybody shares their stories, I share my story, and that to me is so powerful. To me, that is true expansion of consciousness. And that is the real reason why Swami said, go out and serve, because there's a magic in that. It's a very easy path to progress in spirituality. The service is not necessarily only that which is related on weekends. We all know this. And I'm just revalidating that for my own self, right? It is not only some projects that you do here and there. That is too. But those are sparks to convert your nature to be that of being able to serve. Where does that stop? I don't know the answer to that. But I saw in Swami, when I jumped through the rings of fire, when the hostel opened, and in addition to doing yoga on the rope, I also said I can jump through rings of fire. And so we first practiced, I jumped through one ring of fire, and you roll on the other side. We said it's too simple. The Brindavan boys might copy it. So why not do so? I wanted to do something where Swami will say, Abba, this boy, nobody does like him. Because that was my chance to get to know Swami directly. Like I wanted him to come and ask, what's your name? Where are you from? That's all I wanted from Swami. Because everybody else were devotees, families, and known to Swami. How do I attract his attention? Yoga on the rope is one thing, this one is the other one. So I said, why not jump through 2 rings of fire? Why just not one? And I practiced 2 rings of fire. And then now the ego takes over, right? We start with always good intentions. He said, what about the 3rd ring? Why not 3 rings of fire? It'll be such a moment, we'll seal it. The record, nobody will break ever in the history. And so we practiced. So we practiced. 2 boys will come and hold it. I'll jump 1, and then 2 other boys will come and hold the 2nd. I'll come and run through 2 rings, and then the 3rd one I'll jump to 3 rings. I'm like, this has to attract Swami's attention. This has to. So we set it up. We practiced it, and we realized through trial and error, again, because there was no YouTube or Google, we trial and error, we realized we poured diesel, let it dry up fully. Again, don't try this at home. Oh God, I'm scared. I'm not a parent, so I don't know what to talk, what not to talk. But you guys take care of it. So next time Sunder Iyer is called, just say PG-13. So we learned, we put diesel and let it dry. Then when you light up, there's a thinner line. It doesn't burst into flame and you don't see too much smoke. That way I could see all the 3 rings aligned with each other, and it doesn't get too hot for the boys or holding the ring, because we fabricated it for the boy. So I jumped, when Swami came and he was watching, I jumped through 1. Then I went and took a stance. I jumped through 2. And I'm just looking at Swami quickly running back, because I'm now caught up in my act. When I went for my 3rd run, I was about to take a stance. I saw the Swami had sent word through to the warden to stop him. I saw him coming, waving like this. So I knew he's going to stop. But I'm so full of adrenaline at that time. I said, no, I have to do this. I have to do this. I told the boys, come on, guys, quick. Before he comes and tells me to stop, let's do it off. So you can always say, oh, I'm sorry. I had just taken my stand. Our offering, sometimes we start with good intention. I want to sing bhajan in Swami's presence. Then it'll be like bhajan with this turning, more difficult turning. How was my bhajan? It was always about I, me, and mine. So that moment was that lesson for me. It became more about what I want to do, less about what really Swami wanted. He wanted it to stop, but I was full of what I want to do. So I ran and took the 3rd jump. Before all this happened, these jumps happened, one boy came to me and says, Brother Sundar, you have to thank me. I said, why? He said, you guys forgot to put diesel in that thing. It was in the bushes. The ring was in the bushes. I have just poured diesel. So I know now it was wet. So that when the first ring was lit, it just burst into flame, and all I could see was smoke. So I jumped through it. The 2nd ring, same thing happened. It was not like how we practice. So that's why I think Swami also wanted them to stop. Because he saw that the rings are going up in flame like crazy, one boy jumping through it. It was just not safe at all. So when I took the 3rd run for the 3rd ring, I just couldn't actually see anything, honestly. And I just dive into that, hoping I'll clear it. My shoe or something must have hit the 1st ring. By then the first 2 boys, it was too hot, they let go. And all the boys then let go, because it hit, all this happened very fast. I'm on the ground with the rings of fire around me. And again, happening very fast, right? The moment I see the smoke and I'm looking up, one hand comes and pulls me and I jump out, and it is Swami. It is Swami. There were people 10 feet away, like you all doing that. I'm doing this here, you all are like that. All devotees that day Swami allowed. They were all there. We're talking of Seva, right? So they're all Sevadals were there. I'm not finding fault to them, because if I was there, I would have done the same thing, because they were shocked. At that moment, they didn't know, that few seconds, they didn't know what to do. They also jumped in immediately. But that 2 seconds were very vital. The only person at the right time, at the moment, who proactively came. Later on, the boys said, and I met one gentleman, a Westerner in Houston, who said, I was there on that day. I saw Swami running towards you when you were running towards the flame. Swami jumped from the Jula. He saw the warden couldn't reach me. He saw I've taken the stance. He jumps from the Jula. He's running towards the ring. I am running in the sense he's coming really fast to stop me, and I am running this way. So when I jumped, he was the one at that spot at that moment. Later on, the senior devotees told me, what is this, Sundar? How could you? Swami had silk robes himself, And I was very embarrassed as well. I'm not saying this with any sense of pride in the story. There's so much lessons for me. One, the lesson was, where do you draw a line of service? Where do you say, no, beyond this I won't serve. I'm only setting an example for my children, for my community. For him, there was no line. That's why he did what he did. There was no line. We need to only think about this. I'm not saying we have to do this or that, but this is a question I go to sleep with. Where do I draw the line? Where does it stop? Why didn't he stop? And he comes all the way, puts his life at risk literally, because he's wearing silk robes, but he's there, where the others are too stunned to take that action. So service has to become a very nature. It was his nature to serve. The joy that I saw in Swami's eyes, the day we did Narayan Sema in the 60th birthday or 65th birthday, thousands were sitting in the stadium. And Swami's armpits are all wet with sweat because it is so hot. He's rolling his sleeve. Come. One by one, he's calling us, boys, we are taking the bath. And he's serving. And he said, Bangar, tinandi, baga tinandi, everyone, baga tinandi. And he's talking to those villagers. They're like, Baba. They're interested in food. But the point is, he was so happy doing it, so engrossed in doing it. His back was filled with sweat, and it was not for cameras. It was not a display of, I'm teaching my devotees how to serve. No, it was his nature to do that. I still remember, either it was that or a birthday after, we had a truckload of clothes to give. Lessons were always taught to us immediately, like lessons, clothes to give. And Swami said, give it to the villagers. And so villagers made a line and they were giving. And Swami was sitting in the car watching some of the boys giving. So one of the boys found one guy coming again. So he said, hey, you already go. Because we are trying to ration. So and he sent him off. Swami saw that. He called that boy. Why did you do that? Swami, no, Swami, ippude teeskoni ellaru Swami vallu. Sari and dhoti, they have taken it. He's coming again. Swami said, how many times have you come for the same Pada Namaskar? Did I turn you away? Look at that. How the perspective of God is versus our perspective. Our job is not to judge. Let him take 10 saris. If there is something, and if he wants, I'm not saying give it or don't give it, but look at the way his perspective was so profound. He put us on the spot, right? We go to the sea. You come so many times for the same Pada Namaskar. Did I ever say no? Who are you to say no? So for him, every small little thing matters. And that's why when we say we are waiting for God, God will manifest if we take care of the little things in life. The little things that may not be so spiritual necessarily. We might be doing 2 hours of bhajan and we may be missing a very small little duty in life. But if we take care of that instead of this, that might be more pleasing to Swami than this, correct? It's never this or that. I think it is, we need to go back and think, can I take care of the small things in my life so that the bigger things in my life falls in alignment? When the big things in my life are not in alignment, I take home, I examine the small things in my life. Where am I going wrong there? What about the small things? Can I fix my small things? And that is how it was that when I started sharing these stories, when we went to KYG and we started doing even more, the spiritual experiences multiplied so much. The Swami's grace multiplied so much. His presence became even more powerful. So there is a magic in doing service with love, with no selfish agenda. Because in that is one of his greatest gifts. His gift is teaching us how to give. He gave non-stop. He gave non-stop. And he gave with excellence. There was excellence in his act. He gave with respect. He gave with love. When there was a flood in Gujarat and he asked us to donate clothes, we donated clothes. And then he called us, a few of us boys in. He said, I got clothes from Anantapur, I got clothes from Brindavan, I got clothes from Puttaparthi. I burnt all of them. I've sent my clothes. And we were shocked. Why? He said, who will wear old clothes? The people who have lost everything in their lives in the flood. You think they'll be happy with your pajama and with your t-shirt? I thought when I asked my student, they will send new clothes. You gave old clothes? Is this what you learned from me? I burnt them all. I sent new clothes to them. That was the first time I thought, oh, donation means you have to give new ones. Because when we give free, we decide to play God, right? We decide, it's okay for them. It's okay. Who are I to say it's okay for them? So when I give trash out, what I don't need, then the universe gives me what it doesn't need. Then when I catch a cold tomorrow, I say, Swami, just before bhajans you gave me a cold, I can't go now. But that cold came because there's something else. It is always a cycle. It's always a cycle. We have to understand, it is like today in the guided meditation also towards the end, a little bit I touched upon it. I truly believe in this. The inhalations, the exhalation is a cycle, correct? You breathe in and breathe out. Day and night is like breathing in and breathing out. The sun rises is like inhalation. Sunset is like exhalations. The ebb and flow of waves is like inhalations and exhalations. It inhales big waves, exhalation, receding waves. The waxing, waning of the moons, longer inhalations, longer exhalations, correct? Do you see the connection there? There is a rhythm in the universe. The rotation of planets around the sun, the birth and death of stars, the galaxies, everything seems to be in a rhythm. Everything seems to have a cyclical energy to it. And so it is with our acts. And so it is right from Bible to Quran to every language, they talk about what you sow, you reap. We talk about karma. You face the actions of your karma. Swami would say, I cannot even save you from that because you are the one. You are as divine as me. You willed it, you did it. And so if we become conscious and if we do the best, we take our times to serve others, we are giving something valuable to us, whether it is time, whether it is talent, whether it is resources like money or whatever it is that we have, which we consider precious. We take that part and give. Then the universe, we set a law in motion, a law that says, okay, you're giving precious things and therefore precious things will come to you. And that's why we have miracles in our lives. We can invoke this divine being in our life by giving, by offering, by surrendering to this universal principle. And that is a great gift of Swami. He said, don't go like this. Go like this. Never let your hand be like this. Always be like this. Always be like this. Because he knows that in giving, I'm opening doors to receiving even more. And thus it was that prayer. I am an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, I sow love. Where there is injury, I sow pardon. Where there is doubt, I sow faith. Where there is despair, I sow hope. Where there is darkness, I sow light. From this moment on, I do not seek to be loved as much as I seek out to love. I do not seek to receive as much as I seek to give. I do not seek to be pardoned as much as I seek out to pardon. Because it is in giving that I truly receive. It is in pardoning that I am truly pardoned. It is in dying that I am born to eternal life. The little I has to die. And an eternal life takes birth. Death not in a physical sense, but death is, oh, what about my time? What about me? What about my private time? What about my... Let that die. Give others that time. And watch how the universe will make space available for you. It's so beautifully it does. The same universe that orchestrates all of this will orchestrate space for you. It'll work like magic. Every single thing will fall in place like magic. Which is why that lesson of my father that I learned, you serve and he gives you the best back. Because my father wanted to do that. He only wanted to serve Swami. And it seemed like Swami abandoned him. But actually there was a better gift already given to him. I didn't understand that at that point. There is always even better stuff coming back to you when you give. Whatever manner, you give your best to your children, raise them the best way you can. It's not about labels about selfishness or selflessness. In whatever act of giving that you do to whomever it is in front of you, bring excellence. Swami never said the hospital, for example, or the college was only for poor people. He didn't label that. You could have very well done that. Rich people can study in the cities. Only poor people can come here, right? But he didn't. It's not about who is rich, who is poor, who deserves getting it, who doesn't deserve. He was not doing that. He said anybody at that point they need it, give it. If somebody needs medical attention, he needs to be attended to in the hospital. Whether he's a multi-millionaire or whether he's a very poor man, a son of a carpenter, it doesn't matter for Swami. That job there is not for us to decide who deserves, who doesn't deserve. It is to give. And so he taught us that. And in that, there is empowerment and enrichment comes in giving, not in receiving. Jesus had to be crucified for Christ to be born. Though there is a physical, this physical story of it has some bitterness to it, let's not take it very in letter, if you will. Just like Arjuna fighting his war and killing his uncles and his gurus. Let's not take them in absolute letter. But if you understand the symbolism, that the individual has to go for a greater cause to arise. And that individual has to crucify himself. In other words, it's not like you give up your family and miss all the fun in life. That's what I'm saying about. You start taking the steps. He makes sure you get everything else. So when I was young, I wanted to join the Film Institute for two reasons. One, because I just wanted to be a black sheep in the family. I enjoyed doing that. Because my parents constantly said, study, study, study. I said, I don't want to study. I don't like to study. And I wanted to join the Film Institute. I liked acting. I wanted to be a comedian, by the way. Look at my height and looks. There's no way I had any hopes of becoming a hero. I had no qualms about it. So I joined Puttaparthi. You might ask, but what happened to that desire? What happened to that dream of you? What happened to that vision or mission of yours that you wanted it? Guess what? When I found this bigger cause, he gave me so many chances to act and write and direct plays and sat with me and so much filled my heart to its fullest content. That little desire that I had was already taken care of. That's what I talk about orchestration. That orchestration is amazing. The universe does that. My father-in-law was a fighter pilot. He's a devotee of Swami. He loved flying planes. He just loved. That was his call, if you will, flying planes. Okay, we talked about following a call today, right? What does that got to do with spirituality? Probably nothing. He fought the 1969 and 71 war, Indo-Pak war and all of that. And that's when Swami brought them into the fold. So his journey was, I want to fly, whatever happens. So he comes to the army, the Air Force. He gets to a point where he's going to be promoted to a desk job. He says, no, I want to fly. And the whole family says, are you crazy? This is a desk job. Think of pensions and this and that. You can't risk your career. Don't try something foolish. He says, no, I want to fly. So he leaves the Air Force and joins a private airline. He joins Vayudut because he wants to fly. Swami inaugurates the airport. And guess what? Vayudut, people get chosen to test the runway. And he's one of the pilots who gets to test the runway first. So he has some amazing stories. So he takes a plane and he lands, the first plane to land in the Swami's airport. This is 90 or 91. He lands there, and then he's supposed to just land, make reports, and take off. Not even get off the plane. That was not the agenda. So he lands, and he looks, and he's seen to his surprise that Mercedes-Benz is there, and red robe, Swami is waiting outside, and few guests around him. He said, oh my God, Swami is standing outside. I can't just leave. I want to go and take namaskar. His co-pilot, who was not a side devotee, he says, what do I do? He says, come with me. But what do I do? Should I shake his hands? He says, I don't know. I'm going to fall at his feet. You do whatever you want. And so he goes and he falls at Swami's feet, and Swami materializes vibhuti and gives it to the friend. So my father-in-law tells a story even more beautifully. He says, kya yaar, I am there, I'm a devotee, I'm falling at his feet. He goes to this guy, non-devotee, and gives him. But see, that's what the beauty of Swami is. And then to his surprise, he tells my father, okay, let's go. My father-in-law and they looked at each other, the two of them, let's go where? And Swami started walking towards the plane. He wanted a joyride. No, you can't do joy. That's why I said the innocence of Swami is so astounding. He wanted a joyride. So he told us few VIPs, come, let's all go. And they went into the plane and sat. And he's like, his colleague said, should we have to call the control tower and get permission? We don't have clearance for this. They said, okay, let's go and try. And they make a call. They said, no, first they get a no. Then they said, we already have Sai Baba on board. They said, okay, in that case, go ahead, do it. Immediately they had a clearance. And Swami wants low flying. Again, fly it low. I want to see the mandir. So I'm just thinking of Swami. If you think of him, if you think of a human being who struggled and built all of this, and he gets his first chance to go and get a drone's view, if you will. Like we have today drones, right? We like to look at our own thing from a drone. Oh, wow, it looks so good. He wanted that. So my father-in-law flew him around. He said, let's go around Darshan. And he was telling his VIPs, look, all are waiting for Darshan. They don't know I'm here. And this is the mandir, this is the ad block. He was so childlike looking out of the window, enjoying Puttaparthi. Simple and sweet, right? He comes back. So my father-in-law is very thrilled. He gets a picture with Swami. And that was not the end of it. He got to fly Swami 3 more times because he eventually joined TVS. And when Swami was in the wheelchair, he had to go to Atirudra Mahayagnam in Chennai. My father-in-law had a chance to fly him again and again and again. My point is, if your heart's desire is something and you truly stick to it, no matter what it is, the divine will find a way to fulfill your heart in some manner. See, he was also a devotee of Swami. He loved flying. And somewhere Swami said, let's marry the two. Towards the end, so he retired after flying Swami 3 times. What a wonderful way to retire, right? How many of us can tell that kind of a story? So he has that with him. He's going to take that with him in this lifetime, a beautiful story with him. So that's the beauty of divinity. When we do what we want, when we do it full of love and belief and treat it as an offering, just not in a spiritual sense. Because I love it, I want to do it. Your heart and soul is in it. Your divinity will connect. It will connect to the universe. And everything else will fall in place. It will fall in place. I have no doubts about it. I know you have no doubts as well. It is only in satsangs like these, when we sit at the feet of the Master and relive those moments, we re-energize ourselves with that kind of belief. So my dear sisters, brothers, let us never hesitate to be part of this mission. It's a wonderful opportunity for all of us. In whatever way, even the squirrel played a little role. There's nothing like big and small in this. Whatever little act you can do selflessly, go out and do it. Because in that selflessness lies Swami's love. Thank you so much, Sai Ram. Thanks, Sai Ram.
Saram, brother, I think we have no words. On behalf of everybody in this room, we would like to express our heartfelt gratitude to Swami and you, actually, for sharing pearls of wisdom through your own personal experiences. And we're really thankful for that group that actually opened you up in 2012, right, for sharing this, because I think each one of us have been able to take from this session. Actually, you've taken us back in time. You're like a time machine. We were able to see Swami. We were able to fly the aircraft with Swami. We were in the room with Swami. And many things that I think we all have diversified backgrounds. Like some of them have seen Swami, some not. But to be able to visualize and experience that, thank you for that. And hopefully we all take back what you said about make me to may I to I am. I think that'll be the journey we would like to do that. Thank you so much. We would have some closing prayers, and then we'll wrap that up.
Sai असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय शांति शांति शांति। ओम जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक परति महेश्वरा। ओम जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते आश्रित कल्पलतिका आश्रित कल्पलतिका आपद्बान्धवा। ओम जय जगदीश हरे माता गुरुदैवमु मरियन्तयु नीवे स्वामी मरि अन्तयु नीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नागेन्द्र श्री राम ओम जय जगदीश ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी ओ साई महादेवा सत्य साई महादेवा मंगल आरती मंगल आरती मंगल गिरिधारी ओम जय जगदीश बोलो नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा बोलो नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः परमं पवित्रं बाबा विभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूतिं परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्ष प्रदातं बाबा इदमाश्रयामि परमं पवित्रं बाबा विभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूतिं परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्ष प्रदातं बाबा विभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि परमं पवित्रं बाबा विभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूतिं परमार्थ इष्टार्थ मोक्ष प्रदातं बाबा विभूतिं इदम्